This comment actually came from my XDS video. This was before I had a holster for it. But I actually get comments similar to this a lot. And I actually imagine something totally different, you know, working at a gun shop. I'm like, well, I'll be able to get these firearms at this discounted price, so I'll be able to afford more, I'll be able to get more ammunition and get more firearms. Yeah, it turns out that's not the case. Not even at all. Just to put this into perspective is, one, because I'm handling so many different firearms, I'm always afraid to lock myself down to one particular one because tomorrow one may come along and I might like it better. Now, if I were to just go out and buy the firearm, it doesn't matter. I already own the firearm. You just can't play with firearms like you can, like when you work at a firearm shop. So it really limits your exposure. So when you get a firearm, there's nothing there. Like, you're not going to pick another one up off the shelf and be like, man, I wish I would have waited. This firearm's so much better. That's a problem. The second problem comes down to stocking the shop. If this was huge, like say we lived in some major city and we were just throwing out inventory and it got to the point where it's like, oh, what do we order because we just got so much money to reorder inventory. Yeah, pulling a firearm from time to time wouldn't be a problem, or any sort of product, holster, you know, ammunition, whatever. To put it into perspective, I'm just going to make up some numbers here, but just so you understand. Say this was $15. Say the start cost of this was $10. If I were to take this, yes, I would be getting it $5 cheaper than you, so that makes sense. Like, I'd be saving $5, right? Wrong. I'm actually losing money. Because say I sold this to a customer, there's $5 left over. Say I sold another one to a customer, now I have enough to buy 2 of these. So then say those 2 sold to a customer, now I have enough for 3 of them. So on, and it just keeps multiplying. So even taking something cheap, like a $10 item, I'm losing thousands of dollars. It's even worse with firearms because the markup on firearms is so ridiculously small. Typically, like across the internet and stuff, there's about a $50 markup. They will take their firearm, regardless what the start cost is, and add $50 onto it, and then, you know, they'll usually snake a little bit more money out of you in shipping. Until you hit the $1,000 mark, because cheaper firearms sell. They do. They really, really do. Far more than expensive firearms. So you have to be competitive with your prices. But once you break like the $1,000 mark, the frequency of that firearm selling drops down drastically. Unless it's something highly desirable. Or something brand new that's got, you know, Wi-Fi on it with, you know, Bluetooth capable and it links to your phone and does something crazy that's never been done before. Unless that's on there, the firearm just doesn't sell once they get over $1,000. They do, but it's much slower. So you don't have to be so competitive with your prices. Typically what I'm seeing like over the internet and everything, once you break the $1,000 mark, then they just do a 10% markup. So, well, except for on the SCAR. I'll get to that in a second. So like, let's say it's $1,000, then $100 on top of that cost. If it's $2,000, $200 on top of the cost, etc., etc., etc. Because nobody's going to stock them because they don't sell, so therefore the people that do stock them more or less have a monopoly on the market, so they can sell them for whatever the hell they want. Now, when I first got into the industry, firearms, they were almost kind of at a slump, but production was still ramped up from the panic that we had in, I think it was like 2009 or whatever. So like, there was plenty of stock and nobody was buying it. Then they started doing, they called it a MAP program. Minimum advertised price. What that is I could sell this, like let's say the start cost was $100. I could sell this for $101 in the store. Not a problem. If I were to advertise this on the internet or anything, the minimum advertised, the MAP pricing is the lowest I can go. This way it levels the playing field, because say like you order through Glock, if you're willing to buy, I think 5 of their pistols at once, you can get it cheaper than you can get it out of any of the distributors by about $40. So since product wasn't moving, they were just selling it right up over that. So anyone on the internet that was capable of moving a lot of product and keep buying, you know, like Colt, They do a dealer program, Glock, etc., etc. They were going just over that, so it would undercut all the dealers. So to get the cheapest Glock, you had to do it off the internet. Then they did map pricing, and that was supposed to stop that problem. Like SCARs, for example. There was so many of them, they were offering a trigger package. I was seeing like $100 markup because the start cost on a SCAR is $25.99. I was seeing them sell for like $26.50, $2,700, and it got to the point where they were either going to have to reduce the cost of the SCAR to be able to move all their built-up product or end production. Make the market dry up, this way it makes the SCARs more valuable. Because they tried doing a trigger package and everything, and it just wasn't meeting up to like what they were having in production. Well, this is speculation, but I'm assuming then they ended production then. Now SCARs dried up, so now they're starting to climb back up in the price, getting closer to MSRP and or map pricing. Canik was the same way. Century Arms sends an email to everyone. Oh, if you sell the Canik for under this amount of money, that we're going to just block you. We're going to tell your distributors they cannot sell to you. And I forgot to clarify this, but why would a dealer want to put a SCAR that costs them $25.99 in their shop? So you're spending basically $2,600 at a $50 markup. Plus it's going to sit for a long time. So you're probably looking at maybe a year turnaround, year and a half turnaround on a SCAR. So you've invested $2,600 to turn that into an extra $50 in a year, year and a half from now. Where if you were to buy something Taurus, which just flies out of the door, you'd make, I don't know, $600-700 where you would have made just $50. So the dealers weren't buying it. And it's very important to have product that you have, that product that you want at the dealers, because that's where customers get to handle it. That's where they decide yes or no, I want to buy it. So if there's not a SCAR at any dealers and you never get to hold a SCAR, what are the odds that you're going to spend $2,600 out of your pocket? It's very poor. Yes, you can get a lot of information off YouTube, but actually holding the firearm, feeling the controls, fondling it, seeing the quality of it, sells it way better than YouTube videos ever will. And that was also the whole point of the map pricing. Because why would I want to bring firearms in my shop that I absolutely cannot sell? I'll just take the transfer fees because I make more off those more frequently. If the whole Glock is flooded with, or if the whole internet's flooded with Glocks that they bought $40 cheaper than me and they're selling them $2 cheaper than I can even buy them for, why would I want to put a Glock in my shop? Because the odds of me selling that are pretty poor. Because they're going to go like, oh yeah, I like this Glock 26, you know, let's go see some reviews or something on the internet. I type in Glock 26 in Google, there's like 15 pages selling it for drastically cheaper than I am. Because even if I threw $50 on it, so let's say the internet could buy, or anybody that did the Glock program could buy the Glock for $440, which is pretty much where they can. If they threw $30 on it, which is still $10 cheaper than I can even buy it for, and I threw, say, $50 on it, it's $60 cheaper to buy it off the internet, so therefore that would cover the shipping cost plus the transfer fee, so the customer would still be getting it for cheaper than I could sell it to them for and make a profit. That was the MAP program to try to eliminate that. This way it would put product into shops. But anyway, back to what I, sorry, I kind of went off into left field. But yeah, so working here, you're not saving money. When you grab a piece of product, you're actually losing your ass. Big time. Any piece of product. And then it's like, so when I buy the piece of product, even if I use my personal money to make it mine, which I've done before, once it gets here in the shop, I'm like, well, you know, if I were to just sell this, you know, 6 or 7 times, then I'd get one for free. Then once I get that one for free, I can take it, but then I'm like, well, if I take that, I've lost all the work I've done and all the profit to this point, so maybe I should just leave it on the shelf and then just keep it going. So that's the dilemma you're at. It's almost like a catch-22. But yeah, so that's why for the longest time I didn't have an holster for my XDS. That's why I really want this firearm. I mean, I already own it, but I haven't taken it home because, well, I'd be cutting my throat. Yeah, I'm getting it for pretty cheap right now, but looking at long term down the road, this would cost me a lot of money to pull. So when I pull a firearm, I'm really into it. But thanks for watching. I just wanted to give you a little, like, behind the scenes, I guess you'd call it, or like side story. Don't forget to subscribe.